Hey there, wine enthusiast, and welcome to episode of Two Tipsy Plants. The plant...
Okay, hold on.
That was...
Can you please keep this because... Okay, we will start this again, but just want to say that this is Sasha and Sasha of Two Tipsy Plants, and this is our new podcast,
Two Tipsy Plants.
No plants, just
No
two
plants,
tipsy.
we're just two Tipsy.
Okay, Sasha, a 3, 2, 1, roll over, start again.
Roll over and show your belly.
By the way, we only had like half a glass of wine.
If that, it's a splash.
Yes. Okay.
Hi there, wine enthusiasts, and welcome to the episode of Two Tipsy.
This is going great, I love it.
The podcast where we unlock the mysteries of the wine world, glass by glass, and maybe get just a little bit too tipsy in the process.
And we haven't even started drinking, and we already sound like we're
It
too
promises
tipsy.
to be a really good day.
Yes. Well, yes. Hi, you may know us, but you don't have to. From Two Tipsy Plants podcast, where we talk plants and drink booze. This is
Do
a
your
podcast-
homework.
This is a podcast where we just
Drink booze.
talk booze and drink booze. Yes. Welcome.
All right. So, shall we start with our usual structure of our episodes, just like in Two Tipsy Plants?
Okay.
Let's-
Sasha, before we start, what is the poison of choice today? I have a crack in my cheek. I'm sorry.
She is so professional, but it's fine.
You probably my microphone picks up noises, so you probably can hear me eating crackers. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but this because we wanted this podcast and our second season of the other podcast to be very
Casual.
relaxed and casual. So casual crunching is okay.
Casual crunching, you say?
Oh no! Don't do your neck, please. Sasha just did a whole dance.
Today's wine of choice will be Muddy Water. Pilotage. Winery is Muddy Water. The grape is Pilotage. The vintage is 2018. It is from Waipara, which is not Canterbury. And
We've already opened that bottle and had a sip of it in our episode of Two Tipsy Plants podcast, but we will
it's going to be
endeavor
a
into
beautiful.
it
It's
now.
going to be a beautiful wine.
Yes.
Judging by the first sip, but it had half an hour. It
About
had an
an hour.
hour of decanting.
I'm
And
very
on
excited to try it now because, it was nice without decanting, but I feel like it did need to open up a bit.
I mean, judging by my favorite book, Wine Folly, it does recommend to have your wine decanted for at least 60 minutes. So,
Oh, there we go. We hit the
so we
target.
hit the mark right on a nail on the head.
Otto, stop it.
So yeah, this wine is known to
No.
the winemaker itself describes it as intense and very heavy on the nose, with the aromas of crushed blackberry, black cherry, herbs, spice, and savoriness. The wine.
Very sounds like Pinot Noir, doesn't it?
No, it sounds more like a Merlot, to be honest.
Yeah, true. Okay, yeah, no. correct.
Yeah. Also, the wine folly book, if you like the Pilotage, you'll probably enjoy the Syrah, Petit Syrah, Monastrell, and Tenant, which I do like all of them, to be honest. So
Do you have a wine that you don't like?
I did. The one that I don't like will be. I think I'm sorry. Should I be calling names?
No, I mean more of a type of a wine. I mean,
I think it's a blend. It was just a very unfortunate blend that I didn't really appreciate.
was it just everything they had blended into one? We actually tried that once and it was good.
I mean, I'll just say Pegasus Bay. They have two varieties of virgins. There is white virgins and the red virgins, which all of them are a blend of different types of grape
Bottle,
in one
stop it.
bottle. I very much enjoyed the red one because it has a flavor of Pinot Noir with complexity, like very complex and funky Pinot Noir. But the white one just tastes too funky for me, and I can't really.
I am really sorry. My dog,
Is eating the chain of hearts.
aka one of our co-hosts, is eating Sasha's chain of hearts. Yes, he's trying to play with it. No, darling, that's not good for you. Sorry, that's why I was like, Bolton, no.
Please don't die.
Yeah.
North Canterbury is actually known to be. North Canterbury known to be a direct
It's a very young region for growing wines.
It's a very young region. Some books actually say that it's a toddler region in the wine industry.
It is. That's what I've heard as well. But
it doesn't mean that it's a bad wine. That's actually what I've wrote over here as well.
It's honestly, not all the wines are great, but I now have two favorites from that region. One is that rosé from Black Estate, which is slightly bubbly, but it smells like strawberries.
It's also very dark rosé,
yes.
which is quite uncommon. Like usually you see rosé is quite pale.
Yeah.
If you go French style, and they're going to be quite minerally and light, or you can go for a more American approach of rosés, which is going to be dark, potent, strawberries, cotton candy, sugar.
And you don't get that in New Zealand that often. You usually get the lighter ones.
Yeah, I would still say that Black Estate one is quite light. It does not have that much residual sugar, as I can remember.
No, it's not as sweet, yes, but it just smells like strawberries, and it's slightly fizzy, like just a little bit fizzy. And the second one is the Pinot Noir from Crater Rim from the Ashes, which is, I think that vineyard burnt and then they replanted it, something like that. That's why it's called From the Ashes.
Oh, okay.
But their Pinot Noir it's not the Otago style Pinot Noir, but it's just nice and spicy and like lovely. So yes, as toddler region does not mean that it's bad wine. It actually makes
there are a lot of very knowledgeable winemakers in the area and the viticulturalists as well, and very Rosie. No,
one of the co-hosts is disagreeing with another co-host.
One of the co-hosts has been a little bitch.
We have just a bit of context. So Sasha has a very big potato dog. She's a
Beachback Rottweiler cross with a Staffy.
Yes, so she's a big girl, and she doesn't really like my dog, who is a Cocker Spaniel, a small little puppy Cocker Spaniel.
To be honest, she doesn't like any dogs.
Yeah, but they now coexist, because before they couldn't do even that, but now they coexist. And Bolto is just trying to play with Rosie, and Rosie's like, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I just wanted to say that North Canterbury is very well known for Pinot Noir, for their production of Pinot Noirs, Pinot Gris, Chardonnays, and Rieslings.
Okay.
But probably the most you'll find people will be more going towards the Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, because North Canterbury has two different soil types. We will be talking more about the effects of soil types on the flavor on the wine in the next episode, but I'll just cover in this episode as well what is the soil types that are in this region. So soils are predominantly gravels, clays, and limestones. They vary from silt to stony alluvials. Alluvial means it's sandy and it's sand and sediment that was left by rivers and floodplains and flood events. Sorry. Soils near Waipara will have that, and also there will be another variety of soils which will have chalky clays, which are rich with limestone. That will be closer to the hill. To the hilly areas of the Canterbury, like Castle Hill, for example.
Okay. For those who actually listen to Two Tipsy Plants, thank you for joining this podcast. But for those who are new to this podcast, Sasha, would you mind telling a bit about yourself in terms of what you do? And because you're talking about soil, and I know it's quite important to you. Could you please give a bit of background?
Honestly, I did forget about the fact that this is a new podcast, new platform, and we kind of need to introduce ourselves.
No, I mean,
I think it's a good idea.
I'm not that related to wine, but because you are trying to.
Hey, you're a wine drinker. That's already relevant enough.
Okay, thank you. Can we cha-ching? I completely forgot to turn on the camera when we poured the wine from the decanter, but it's okay.
So, just to give a little bit of context, I used to work in the hospitality industry, and that's when I fell in love with wine. That for 2 years I have worked on a cellar door that has a lot of different types of wine, and their passion in wine kind of rubbed off on me, and now I'm drinking a lot.
Yeah, and you've also been involved in not just wines, but the beers.
Yeah.
Sorry, my puppy is chewing a toy, and if it's making noise, I'm sorry, but he's entertained and he's happy. And that's cute.
I used to be a brewer back in Singapore, so have some experience.
So Sasha's been working with alcohol for quite a while.
Yeah, ever since I was 18. Ever since I hit the legal age.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna tell the podcast, right?
Hey, also, I did do my final year project when I was in university for different flavors for beers.
What did you do with
Rosie, no.
Rosie? Is she like upset that Bolta is eating her toy?
Probably.
Well, I can't remember because you you offered us to try your beers. What was your final year beer?
The final year flavor profiles were dark beer with mint and dark beer with orange.
That was lovely. The orange one was just...
Well, because if you think about it, all the stout beers are chocolatey. And what goes nice with chocolate, if you just go literally to the shelf in your any shop, mint, and you'll find mint chocolate and you'll find orange chocolate. So there's that. And now I work as an environmental scientist and work closely with soils, trying to work even closer with vineyards at the moment. So yeah, trying to tie my work to my passion.
Sorry, I just thought that a bit of background would be good, especially once you started talking about soil and stuff. Just to say that you do understand it from both sides of being a consumer, but also offering it in the hospitality, but also
Also from the
with
side
soils.
of the working with...
Yes.
Yeah.
And in terms of me, I'm just a landscape architect who likes to drink wine.
Just a landscape architect. Hey, maybe at some point we will actually go to French Farm Winery and work over there.
Nice.
Do some prunings, help them out on their season. That's always a fun thing to do.
I'll be honest. I tried their wines before. Wasn't that impressed, but again, maybe different vintage would be different.
They have changed their ownership like twice by now.
Nice.
Nice. No, it's not nice. They got bankrupt.
Nice. Sorry.
As far as I'm concerned.
Back to North Canterbury.
Back to the North Canterbury. As we have discussed, different soils influence the flavor of the wine differently. You can definitely see that if you want to compare how your different soils influence the flavor of the wine, you can take the wine from Pyramid Valley, for example, which has a lot of limestone in it, and you can take the wine that is from Waipara region, a bit closer to the city, which probably would be like, I don't know what to compare it to. Even if you compare it to Pegasus Bay, it's going to be two different types of wine. The ones that are grown on limestone will be a bit more minerally, more crisp, lighter, brighter. We will discuss about a bit more into the... We will dive a bit more into the glossary of all those descriptions, like brighter, lighter. What the hell do you mean by that?
So, on that note, do you want to tell the people more about what you envision this podcast to be? Because you've kind of started talking about soils, but I think it would be good for us to have a separate episode about the soils and
which I said at some point of this podcast as well.
Yes, and another one would be the flavor profiles and actually not the profiles but the language behind wine tasting. I think that's...
I think just literally an episode on glossary.
Yes,
would be vocabulary would be great.
Yes, vocabulary. Yes, just because I mean you don't have to be a wine snob to appreciate wine. But obviously understanding the terms would make it a bit easier to understand what you're buying, let's say. Or even if you go wine tasting, it would be interesting and I guess more knowledgeable to understand what the sommelier is telling you about the wine.
Yeah, because they are wine snobs. I'm not even denying that. But also they have so much experience in drinking wine and describing wine. So at least trying to understand what they're trying to tell you, they probably know what they're doing.
Yeah, so on this podcast, we will talk about different aspects of wine, but every episode we will be having wine, so we will be talking
bantering and derailing.
Yes, talking about that particular wine, but also wine in general.
So today's episode, I see as us doing the tasting, discussing the wine, how to put your palate to words. By palate, like how to actually assign what you're tasting to the words, because that's the hardest part. And when you're starting your journey in wine, everything just tastes the same. Oh, this wine just tastes grapey. That's what I heard at some point of time.
You know how Sasha said that we will be bantering and going off the tracks with the planned episodes, right? This episode was planned to be history and mythology of wine. But that's okay. We will do it next
No,
episode.
I mean it will be there as well.
No,
Because
we can do it
I
next
just
episode.
didn't expect this part of episode taking that much time already.
That's fine. As I'm saying, it's easy.
Yeah.
I'm easy. As long
Are
as
you
give
easy?
me, as long as you give me wine, I'm easy.
And that's how she got married.
Actually, I got Max into wine. He only liked whites, and then because I come from family of
Wine drinkers.
wine drinkers, yes, so I've been drinking wine since legal age, but appreciating wine for quite a bit. Yeah.
Since legal age in Russia.
Is there such a thing?
Well, the unlegal age is frowned upon, but it's not unlegal. Illegal.
Unlegal.
Unlegal.
No, Sasha. In Russia, it is unlegal.
In Russia, it's unlegal, yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so, for example, if you're the person who wants to kind of dive into the world of understanding the wine and trying to understand what do you taste in wine, the hardest thing can be is putting the words to what you're tasting. And it's not sponsored, but I think Vivino, the app that you can find on your phone, is very much the easiest thing you can get for yourself.
Yeah. How about maybe talk about that and how people can use that as a starting tool, but maybe with actual terminology of things. Maybe we will dedicate a full episode to it because I feel like I want to do a bit of research in that as well.
Yeah.
Before we start. Yeah.
So yeah, why I like this app, you can literally just take a photo of it, of the bottle of wine that you have. It will give you the rating for the wine, how much it usually is, and people just share their experience with wine online. And that's, some people don't know what they're doing, some people know what they're doing, so you need to be biased to what they're writing. So in this app, you can take a picture of the bottle of wine that you're about to consume, or about to buy even, because that means that it will allow you to know what is the flavor of the wine and if it actually comes close to the ratings. You go into this app, the first thing you see is taste characteristics, which is a very basic description of what wine is. So, for example, this wine is described as, what do you call this kind of, like, bigaloc kind of thing?
Chart?
Yeah, so there is a chart, like, where you have light and, like, from the lowest spectrum
Like a
to
rating
high.
chart called that way.
Yeah,
maybe.
kinda.
Yeah.
So this is like semi bold, which I kind of disagree. It's quite heavy wine.
I would say it's closer to bold. Yeah. Ooh.
It mellowed down. It's quite different now. When we just tasted the first sip of this wine, it was quite sharp on alcohol, I would say. And quite
It's
hot.
a lovely ass wine. Yeah.
And now it's quite beautiful as well. Like it mellowed down the tannins, and it also, I think maybe alcohol evaporated. I don't know, but it just a bit more rounded now, a bit more tolerable.
I feel like it just opened up a bit more. Yeah.
So,
But yeah, like if you use Vivino for like identifying your,
what do you taste in it? That's the best thing you can do for
I would
yourself.
say maybe take a sip and try to identify it yourself first. It can be literally whatever. It doesn't have to be, a lot of people say, oh, it's cherries and stuff. If you taste
If you taste cherries, it's cherries. If you taste woodiness in the wine, probably there is.
If you taste cheese, if you taste flowers, if you taste like, that's the beauty of wine. You can taste
Just
a lot of
try
things.
to keep it simple. But also, if it just sparks your memory and you're like, oh, it just tastes like cotton candy from 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's your description, and that's something that you would actually enjoy.
Yeah.
If you want to revisit the description that you made.
I agree.
What did people say about this wine? Yeah, in order to actually see what people have done about this wine, you need to rate it first. So, have a sip of the wine, and on a scale of 1 to 5, how would you rate it for your flavor profile?
3.
So you're not a fan of it.
Oh, isn't okay? No, sorry. I mean 4.
4?
Yeah.
I'd go probably as high as 4.4, 4.5 for myself. That's like definitely hits all the spots for me.
Okay.
And then when you go to add the review, it shows you like all the things that you can do. Like, you can just write anything. But if you scroll lower
You can select like different things.
and press add flavor, you can see all the essentially all the words that can be used to describe the flavor. Of course, the first several words will be the words that people addressed to this kind of wine, how they describe this wine. So the first three people have said it's earthy, which I do get it. By earthy, what it means is it's a little bit drier. I think earthiness you mostly can taste from the palate rather than from your nose.
Yeah.
If you're smelling earthiness from your nose, that's probably not a good thing. It's probably the one is corked. From your nose, you can definitely say if wine smells like wet forest floor. That's usually also addressed to mushroominess of the wine. You will find that a lot in nice and well-rounded reds. They also describe it as plum, so dark stone fruits. Smoky, which I can't really say that's smoky.
A little bit.
Not on a palate, but on a nose, it's slightly smoky. What about you? What do you taste? I'm the one who's a cheater, and I have the thing opened in front, but you can be the guinea pig who doesn't...
It definitely smells smoky to me. Ripe berries, but also probably... You know how some wines, they taste like dried fruit? Where this tastes just very, like, almost too ripe fruit?
This one tasted a little bit porty when we just opened it.
Yeah, but now it doesn't. But also it's very... Hold on. Hold on. I'll just keep tasting and finish my glass. Some red wines smell like meaty. This one doesn't.
No. It doesn't have gaminess to it as well.
No. Like, I would say, like, it's gonna be a weird description, but pink pepper.
Yeah, that is one item on here as well.
Because pink pepper is a bit... I wanted to say it smells minty to me, but mint is not the right description. Where pink pepper, it does have that
spicy mint
cooliness on it, like it's cool sensation, and it's also quite spicy. This wine, yeah.
Eucalypty.
A little bit, yeah.
Maybe what you're trying to describe is the spice, different kind of spice. So anise seed, that's what they describe as well. And
I don't see it. I don't like anise, so I don't see it.
I can see why some people describe it as anise seed, just because it has that cooling effect, which you do with, like, if you smell sambuca, that does hit you sometimes.
Well, hence, yeah, pink pepper, like, that's what I associate with this.
Cloves?
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Leather? How? For that's when it starts getting complicated and annoying. What do you mean by leather? Like, when people say, "Oh, I taste leather here," what does it mean?
Well, the first association that comes to me is, like, you know, when you sit in, like, a new car that has leather seats in it, that smell. Because leather can also mean the smell of leather shoes, which is
not the nice one.
No. So I guess everyone can interpret it differently. Yeah.
Yeah. Cherry. That's usually everything every red wine you will
Most
start,
of them. Yeah.
You will start drinking. You will first get a hit of cherry, especially if you're just a starter, like just a starting person trying to describe the wine. You'll probably
starting enthusiast.
Starting enthusiast. Yeah.
Yeah.
They also describe as having raspberries and chocolates. Well, sure.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's how you can put. Just spend some time on that app and go through the terms and through the words, and try to assign the palette to you. The other good exercise that we have done at some point was actually writing down all those words and having those small jars for smelling.
Sorry, I'm just trying. It hits me, the smell. It's very familiar, but I cannot pinpoint what it is, and it annoys me because it smells like something in the shower. Like I've got something in the shower that smells like that. I don't know. Maybe it's the minty.
Pomegranate?
No. Maybe it's the minty kind of smell.
Also, for people who don't have a good sense of smell, well, that sucks.
Hello.
But also, what you can do, it's also quite frowned upon by the sommeliers because it just kind of, I don't know, immature or something. Cover your glass with your palm, swirl it, that releases the phenols, and
then smell it.
And then you can smell it. That just makes the smell more concentrated. And it does smell slightly different because you can pinpoint what you're smelling a bit better. Okay.
All right. Do you want me to tell you a myth about a wine god?
Are we talking about Bacchus? Or about Dionysus? Or Demeter?
No. Dionysus, who's also Bacchus. Because it's
the same god from different, Roman and Greek empires.
So yes, I'm gonna tell you a myth of Dionysus.
Blow me away.
Dionysus, also known as Bacchus, is the god of wine and ecstasy.
And orgies.
But also a god of fertility and orgies. So he was born as a child of Zeus and a mortal woman, Semele. The affair, interesting enough, we've actually talked about Dionysus before on our Two Tipsy Plants podcast, where we talk plants and drink booze, and drink booze. And yes, so we did talk about that there. And if you are interested, you can go and listen to that episode. It's called Mythology of Plants by Two Tipsy Plants. But anyway, so he was born as a child of Zeus and a mortal woman, Semele. Excuse me, I'm eating a bit of cheese and it got stuck in my throat. The affair enraged Hera, wife of Zeus, and she was determined to end the unfaithful union. Disguised as Semele's maid, Hera... Kabam!
Bye.
Hera convinced Semele to ask Zeus to present himself in his full glory to Semele. Knowing that no mortal can withstand the heavenly glow of Olympus' gods. Can you believe that? You just... So, Semele, she burned, pretty much. She evaporated into ashes. But little did Hera know, Semele was actually pregnant. Because the child wasn't ready to be born. I don't know how that worked, because Semele, burned. But apparently the child was still within the ashes. Zeus came over, cut a hole, not a hole, but cut his thigh, and then put the baby in his thigh. So the baby would be born in Olympus later from his thigh. The baby is gonna be born from his thigh. Anyway. So that's exactly what happened. And
the child was fucked up ever since.
Dionysus, he was born in the Olympus and he was mistreated by Hera, because obviously she thought that he was a bastard child because he wasn't her child. And so she cursed him with her madness, forced him to wander mortal world. Dionysus created wine. Exhibit A, the one that I'm holding now, one of many.
One of many you're going to be holding soon.
Yes, so he created wine and shared the skill of wine fermentation with mortals. In his wanderings, I love my spelling in my text. In his wanderings, he visited Greece, Egypt, and India and spread his knowledge wherever he went.
And his seed.
Gods. I love how mythology is just so
erotic. Porn.
Yeah. So he also gained followers that followed him in the procession wherever he went. He became surrounded by dancers and musicians and was carried around in his patterned carriage.
And that's how the cults start.
Exactly. As a young man, he was abducted by pirates who believed that such a beautiful man can only be a son of a king. So he was like, no, bitches, I'm not a son of a king.
I'm a son of a god.
I'm actually a son of a god, a deity, sorry. Dionysus, deity. And they didn't believe him, so he punished them, and he turned them into porpoises. Porpoises? Porpoises.
What is the purpose?
It's like a type of a whale / dolphin.
Oh.
Yes. And then he only ascended to Olympums. He only ascended to Olympus once his cult was established. The cult used alcohol to let loose of themselves. The story continues and continues, but pretty much he created a cult where people used to wear masks, drink wine, and
have orgies,
have fun. And apparently because he came back to Greece and established his cult there, and at first Greeks were like, Rosie.
Greeks were like, Rosie.
At first Greeks were like, no, we are not having this here, but then the cult still got established. Yeah. I am guessing that he is known as the god of fertility, only because you know how people sometimes say that, like, when they become... That's a generalization, but also you hear it in the movies all the time, is like, oh, we had you because mommy and daddy had a second bottle of wine, something like that. Maybe that's why he's called a god of fertility.
Yeah, just people getting lovey-dovey after some alcohol.
I don't know, I feel sleepy after alcohol. I just want to go sleep.
That's because you're old.
You're older.
Shh. The listeners don't need to know that.
So, obviously that's
Mythology.
Obviously those are the myths about wine, right? Do you know when the wine
originated?
Yes.
Well, it was first assigned to Mesopotamian times. I think that's when they were just using wine because there was no access to a fresh water source. Well, and if there is no fresh water source, there is always diarrhea with it. So they've been fermenting fruits. So that was like prison wine.
I think they didn't know much about hydration, because drinking wine is not hydrating.
Well, it's better to drink wine than shitting yourself and dehydrating.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah. So there is that. And the other one of the oldest predecessors, establishers of the wine cult would be probably Georgians.
It says that the traces of wine originated from Georgia, as in the country, and sort of Iran and Armenia area, and then it reached the Balkans, and then it reached Greece and Rome, and then the Europe. So like, it actually, because people would think that wine originated in Europe.
Yeah.
Just because Europe is one of the most popular.
Have one of the oldest vineyards and one of the biggest suppliers of the wines. Yes.
But it actually originated in sort of Mediterranean regions, and Georgians, as in Georgia, the country.
Hello, Georgie.
No, I was trying to remember what's the country called in Georgian. I am so sorry. Yeah, but they actually ferment their wine differently.
In amphoras?
Yes, like under the ground, which is amazing. And they definitely do make wine that is very different from any other wine you can try. But also, the reason why people think that the wine is from Europe is because of the church.
Yeah, because the church people were the ones who actually were drinking wine the most.
Because obviously the Last Supper.
It's the blood of Christ.
So the blood
of Christ.
The blood. Again, no offense to any religions here. These are just the history facts, call it that way. Yeah. The Last Supper. If you think about the picture and just the event that happened, right? Jesus said that consume bread and wine as a memory of me, And bread represents the body and wine represents the blood. So yes, but because of that, a lot of vineyards were actually established on the monasteries.
Jesus is just like a charcuterie board.
Because of that, a lot of vineyards were established on the church grounds, and this is how a lot of vineyards are the oldest vineyards in France, let's say, because they were established there during the church, when the church was a big thing. Not as big as it is now, but the bigger thing. And those vineyards became just vineyards after that. But that's how, people think that it originated in Europe, but it didn't.
Some vines over there are like 300 years old, and I'm like, it's amazing. Also, like, I have no idea how good is that grape that they're producing, but I don't know. I'm not that versed on the effects of age of the vine on the production of the wine. That is the thing that actually pisses me off. That wine and the vine is such a sounds like so similar.
Vine and wine. Well, okay, that's an interesting thing because we were talking about it at work before. Because obviously Sasha and I are not
English speaking.
Well, I mean,
at the moment.
English is not our first language. We both come from Russia originally, so our first language is Russian, and we learned English in sort of later years in our life. And in Russian, you don't have words that can differ that much by just the way they sound, like, wine and vine. It's just a little change in your V/W sound. We don't have that, and because of that, to us, it sounds so damn similar, where a native English speaker would be like, bitch, you're drunk. And we'll be like, yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are. It's a wine podcast. What you want?
Yeah. Sorry, Georgia is Sakartvelo. I was just, because I just knew it, but I couldn't remember.
What?
Sakartvelo?
So that's the name of Georgia in their language?
Yes.
Or? Okay.
Because they actually wanted to change that back in, I don't know when, but they wanted to change the English name to that because of the Georgia, the state. Just because people confuse that.
But yeah, honestly, the way that they make wine is quite amazing because it's clay amphoras, which are like humongous. Some of them can be 2 tons. And they just pour the raw grape juice there and they bury it, which is good because it's controlled temperature. Like, you need to have stable temperatures for fermentation. You do that for beer, you do that for wine. And what is the better option to do it if you just bury it?
You don't use a lot of energy to do that, to keep the...
Just manpower.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's more environmentally friendly.
Yeah. Some people actually do that right now by aging wine, not in soil, but in water, because that's also another way of stabilizing.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
The temperature.
We can do an episode on different ways of fermenting wine. How about that?
That'll be fun.
Yeah, because I didn't know that you can do it in water.
So there is that. Also, when wine ages, it evaporates. Like, whether you do it in amphoras or whether you do it in casks, some portion of wine/water, alcohol in the wine will evaporate.
Oh, it's gas. It needs to go somewhere.
Vapor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
And that's called angel's share. Which I think is quite cute. You have that term in wine industry, and you have that term in whiskey and rums and
alcohol, pretty much. In
alcohol that is aged has this term.
Yeah.
Which I quite like.
Speaking of like history of wine and the origins of wine and stuff, do you know that the berry of grape takes its origin in form of a plant called Vitis caesarensis, and it was found, well, it's thought to be fruiting around 60 million years ago. And then apparently in Europe, people started cultivating Vitis sylvestris, which is again another grape type. But then what happened with that one is it's you had to pollinate it. You actually need pollinators to do that. But then the domesticated, it's the grape type that is used to make wine. Well, 90% of wine, call it that way. is called Vitis vinifera. I think it's Vitis vinifera var vinifera, which is the domesticated wine grape. Sorry, we are talking about a bit about plants. Back to our origins,
honestly,
to tipsy plants.
You can't not talk about plants
When
you're
wine is
talking
made
about
out
the
of
wine,
plant.
when
Yeah.
the wine is made out of plants.
Yes. But yes, Vitis vinifera var vinifera, or commonly known as just Vitis vinifera, is actually a hermaphrodite. So speaking of background, Sasha's background and stuff, he's actually...
Sasha is hermaphrodite, that's what she's trying to say.
No, I was just trying to say that Sasha is a bit of a bioscientist as well, and he knows quite a bit about biology. So can you tell us what hermaphrodite mean?
I don't think you need to be a biologist to know what is hermaphrodite.
Yeah, but
it
I'm
means
asking you because, you're more qualified to say that.
Okay.
I'm a freaking landscape architect. I know about growing plants. I don't know about
You don't need to know
about
much about hermaphrodites besides the fact that it's the body, like the species, like it can be human, it can be plant, that has both male and female organs.
Yes. So...
both organs of reproduction.
Yes. So like some snails have it, a lot of plants actually have it. And wine, which is Vitis vinifera, is one of the plants that do that, which means that the flower can pollinate itself pretty much, like if you put it in very layman terms. And hence, this is the variety that became popular for winemaking.
So yeah, if you say, go fuck yourself, it's not a bad thing.
You'll go and make some wine later. Yeah. So yes. So obviously, Vitis vinifera var vinifera is the plant, but then it's the different cultivars that are what makes the difference in different types of wine, like Pinot Noir and stuff. Like they come from one cultivar of wine, and then one cultivar of grape, and then that particular grape gets fermented and prepared in different styles, and this is where you get the style of wine.
I'm sorry?
Like Sauvignon, let's say.
Yeah.
That's a type of wine.
Type of grape.
But you can get Sauvignon Blanc, or you can get like Cab Sav. Is that?
No, there's different type of grapes still.
Okay. But you can make different wines out of the same grape.
The only thing you can
like
do
Pinot Noir and Pinot.
It will still be called Pinot Noir if you are trying to make a different wine from the same grape. The only thing that I can think of that you're referring to would be like
Pinot Blanc? Pinot Blanc and Pinot Noir.
Pinot Blanc is still, it is same origin of the species, but it's just a branch out.
So Pinot Blanc is a different grape.
Yeah, Pinot Blanc used to be Pinot Noir. I can't remember who came first.
I thought the difference is the skins. Like
Pinot Blanc, Pinot Gris, Pinot Noir.
Yeah, but isn't it the difference in actual?
It's actual. It's the difference is actual plant.
Okay, sorry.
There you go.
See, this is why I need. No, it's okay.
I have literally a page open where you have all the types of grapes, pictures, and all the names and all the differences that they make and where they have originated from.
Okay, sorry. I actually thought that. See, this is why I need you.
This is why I have this podcast.
Yeah.
Don't worry. That's good that you have brought it to the light.
Don't worry. I just drink wine.
Exactly. And you shouldn't, because that's common misconception as well. So yes, you can make different types of wine, but you will not change the variety of wine by fermenting it. Like from Pinot Noir you can make Pinot Noir, you can make rosé with Pinot Noir, and you can make.
This is still gonna be Pinot Noir based rosé.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the grape variety does not mean that you can only make one style of wine. I think that's where you got confused. The style of wine and the grape varieties. I mean, we do need to finish at some point, and I have no idea when to stop.
See, Sasha really wanted this podcast, and now he doesn't know when to stop.
Like,
okay.
What is the time that we are at the moment?
48 minutes.
I was like, I don't want this podcast to go longer than 30 minutes. Well, I think, yeah.
Yeah. What I'd say is, I think we've covered good basics in terms of, we talked about today's wine. I probably talked a bit too much about it. We've also talked about
how you can put your palate towards just had a little bit of banter. Honestly, this episode can be called word diarrhea.
Yeah. I think next one will be a little bit more structured, but I think it was a good start because we wanted it to be quite open-ended.
No.
And the end is not ending.
The end is not ending.
Yes. But yeah, I think that was a good start, Sasha. And what do you think you want the next episode to be about?
My gosh. I think let's just hold the thought. I will post it on Instagram. What will be the next episode?
Sasha wants to cover everything, and that's why he's like, I don't know where to start.
I don't know where to start. I don't know where to finish. And this topic is just so bloody huge and extensive.
Super glue. I just smelled super glue in my wine.
That's called acetone, and that is one of the definitive features.
Definitive.
Definitive features in Pilotage.
Okay.
So, points on that. You can also say it smells like paint remover or paint.
Paint remover.
Nail polish.
Yeah.
Polish.
Remover.
Nail polish.
Okay. Anyway.
All right. Thank you guys very much for listening to our banter and our shenanigans about the wines.
We hope you... This is kind of turning into Two Tipsy Plants ending, but I guess it's similar. We hope you enjoyed listening to us. And
I hope that we have given you a great company while you're having a glass of your wine.
Yes. And in the next episode, we will talk about something else. We will tell you what it will be.
Most probably I'll just try to address what is the vines. Like vines.
I'll just try to undress.
Address something.
Oh, you said address. I thought you said undress. I will
try to undress. I will try to undress. It's getting too hot. Okay.
We haven't finished the bottle yet.
We need to finish it. Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.